She is one of the few young women first-time MPs in the 8th Parliament of Ghana. The evolution of the money market and business development inspired her decision to become certified in project management and digital financial services. That body of knowledge served her well in becoming a key player in the then nascent digital banking space. The advent of loyalty and banking cards, as well as banking and payment systems. She decided to serve the people of Ablekuma North Constituency as an MP, and at her first time of trying, she won the primaries and equally won a seat well held by the New Patriotic Party. Her name is that of a well-known personality in contemporary Fourth Republic Ghanaian politics, and she seems to have followed in the footsteps of her family patriarch. So, for a first timer, 2 years into a different job profile, how is she settling in and caring for the people she represents in Parliament? Is the legislature a task as straightforward as she anticipated with the current economic conditions? Is it a more Herculean task to maintain her position and possibly retain it in 2024? What does she make of the NPP's second term in office and their impact on the pockets of Ghanaians? With her finance background, does she think e-levy should remain or be scrapped? The daughter of the former Member of Parliament for Ablekuma North, Mr. Sheila Bartels, she is calm yet personable. Sheila Bartels is my guest on Star Chat tonight. You're welcome to the show, Sheila.
Thank you, Nanaba. I had so many things I've not heard about myself.
You were surprised.
I found it quite interesting.
She's still talking about me. It's good to see you. I haven't met you before. I think it's the first time we're meeting.
Yes, this is the first time.
It's the first time. It's good to see you.
Same
and
here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On making it to Parliament. Was it difficult?
Won't you let me say hello to the people of Ablekuma North? I mean,
we'll come to Ablekuma North people very soon. Then you get a chance to address them.
Well, you know, as I'm sitting here, I'm representing them. So you have the whole of Ablekuma North in your studios.
Really?
As we speak.
Ablekuma people. Good to have you on the radio with us tonight. Anyway, so was it difficult for you to break through?
So let me start with the fact that there's always an environment that prepares the way for something to stay or something to change.
Right.
And I think at the time I made up my mind to go, the environment needed some change.
Right.
And I think because of the pace, whatever my dad had done, he had created an environment that was also good for the brand to be successful.
Right.
So we took.
So the Bartels name helped.
It did because I mean I do believe that at that point I didn't have any track record. I was coming in the first time, and if he had not had a good reputation, it wouldn't have worked for me because people look at their needs and the expectations, and then they ask themselves, all the new people, because I wasn't the only new person coming in.
Right.
There were 3 of us, plus the incumbent. So you have to have something that gives people some hope that if the change comes, something better would follow. So yes, the name was important.
The Bartels name is potent.
My father is a legend.
You don't need to say it. You absolutely do not need to say it. And not just a legend at Ablekuma North, but he was a minister as well. And he discharged his duties remarkably.
Yes, and I must say, it actually created a certain, you have big shoes to fill, especially when you get into Parliament, because people have a certain expectation of you already because of what your father has done.
Does it put pressure on you?
Well, initially it did, but I think the leadership of Parliament, especially on the majority side, most of them actually see my dad also as their dad. So they saw me as their sister, and they kind of hold my hand and try to support me. And I think they do that for most of us. So they made it easier. They made it easier. So.
Okay, but knowing what your father had done in Ablekuma North, did you have to remind them of what he did, what they knew, or what they know now, did you have to remind them to give them a reason to vote for you?
Absolutely, because you have a very large population of new voters, people who came in or became delegates after he had left office. And after that, we've had 2 MPs, so who also did different things. So you have to tell them, yes, they've heard the name, they know, he's actually the chairman of the Council of Elders currently. So they know about the name, but when it comes to his achievements, you actually have to let them know, because the older ones know, but the younger ones.
Of course, there are young people. Some were probably not at a voting age when he was in power.
And some who migrated in from other places and all of that. So
they needed a reminder.
You have to. And even now, you have to keep reminding them.
Really?
The things I did last year, you have to keep reminding them of what you did, because, I have this theory that every day and its problems, and everybody is looking at how to get ahead. So if whatever you have done, it doesn't solve the problem of today, you have to keep telling them that, yes, I haven't been able to solve this particular problem, but then we have done so much and we still have a lot more to do. So you have to keep hope alive. It's something you have to keep doing.
Okay.
Yes, you never stop.
And do you dread the day you stop reminding them?
I'm hoping that as time goes on, my works will continue to show, because I like to do a lot of engagements. And I like to do things that impact lives for the long term, because what I've realized is if you make an impact in somebody's life that, for instance, carries them for a very long time, they remember that more than if you do something for them. For instance, if I give somebody money, they solve a problem of today. Tomorrow they need money. They forget what you've done. But if, for instance, you help somebody to get a job and they are in the job, they know as long as I'm here, this person was the one who helped me. So it goes further. So anything that you do that has a long-term, impact on lives, it helps your brand to stay longer.
Okay, so what are some of the things you have been doing since you assumed that seat?
There are 2 key things that I spoke about when I was campaigning. The first being that I was going to focus a lot on employment, because we have a large youth population in the constituency, and most of them, their education levels are not, university or beyond. So you have to, and of course, if you're depending only on, government recruitment, you would get very few in a year. So in addition to pushing for them to get employed by government, I'm also looking at actually creating better opportunities. So we have, for instance, a factory coming up for women who have learned how to sew, so that they will be employed, and that is going to take about 150 people. And then I have the university program where people who just did their SHS and they couldn't continue are going to be able to continue, maybe do a diploma program, and then they can be absorbed into university. So these are some of the things, apart from the usual programs that we do that are supposed to help, people gain an income.
You mentioned that you like to engage.
Yes.
How often do you engage?
So I do a lot of one-on-one engagements, and then we have periodic organizations that we do. So for instance, we have our electoral area engagements that are coming up where we are engaging house to house. So we are getting the whole community together to put together a 10-year plan on development, because I realize that whether you like it or not, people depend on the MP for development. And if you come to Ablekuma North, apart from the major roads, we have all our inner roads are bad. And the government doesn't usually place a priority on inner roads. They usually look at the ones that connect, one to another. So as residents of the community, what can we do to support whatever government is doing, to support what the assembly is doing, so that we can have a better community than, what we have met. And we have to leave it better than what we have. So these are things that we are putting together. I think it's about a 3-month program, engaging all our 14 electoral areas, so that we'll be able to look at how best to improve the infrastructure in our constituency.
I mean, how old were you when your father was actively participating in politics?
Oh, my goodness. My father, as long as I can remember, because my grandfather was also a politician, Kwame Nkrumah's government.
So it runs through the family.
Yes, yes. It
Right, right. And so, yes. I mean, there's a lot of pressure with the MP's work, isn't there?
Absolutely.
And so I'm sure you saw your dad every single day receive visitors at home.
Oh, yes.
The queues outside. Does it make sense to you now? Did you understand it then?
My father likes to converse a lot. He likes to talk. He likes to chat. Right. He likes to tell us his experiences and all of that. So I think through that time, I kind of understood, because people come, and then after that, when maybe he has come home and he's trying to relax and watch football or something, and then people come, and then he would say, oh, I need to attend to these guys. They came to me in the morning. I need to find money for them. I need to. So you begin to ask questions. Why do these people always achieve? Well, they don't have jobs. I need to help them to find jobs. Right. Once they get jobs, I don't need to be giving them, pittance. So I have to put more effort into it. So he talks a lot to help us to understand, what it takes. So I actually grew up understanding a bit.
Did you feel at the time that other people were taking a lot of your father's time instead of spending time with you?
My father still doesn't spend time with us.
Oh, Honorable Bartels.
His favorite
saying. In saying Honorable Bartels, I'm not even referring to you. I'm referring
to him. I know. His favorite saying, "BBI are fine, akakash." And you would think, okay, if he says akakash, how much money do you need? Then he'll measure some huge amount of money that you have never even, ever seen before. Yeah. But I began to understand it when I became an MP, because you have a lot of people
you have to deal with that every day
challenges,
as well.
real challenges, and if you don't step in, they really don't have anyone.
That piles a lot of pressure on you as an MP.
It does, and it causes you see, I see this in three folds. You have your parliamentary and committee work, you have your constituency work, and then you have what you have to go and chase, because you are a part-time beggar as well.
Right.
And people think that, MPs are making so much money and all of that. But we spend a lot of time going around, trying to raise money for the people who have come to us for help, because you can't just send people away, because they don't have the leverage you have. So you have to use it to be able to support them. And I think you are able to also do more for people when you yourself, you have shown yourself worthy to be supported.
Okay. I've had people say, and it's come from both politicians and political observers, that the kind of pressure constituents pile on MPs, not just MPs, but politicians. So constituents are looking for something for the MP, whether it's a wedding, whether it is naming ceremony, whether it's a funeral, healthcare, education. They're looking to the MP to solve that problem for them. Yes. Some have said it is the reason there is such a high perception that politicians are corrupt, because really and truly, you're just an MP, and you probably have just some 1 or 2 side jobs doing. But the kind of money you expend on a daily basis is sometimes unrealistic. It's not sustainable. But at all costs, you must find that money, because you can't, like you said, you can't afford to turn them away. Yeah. Because you risk losing a vote, number one. You risk being called names. And then there is also the self-deprecation that you were unable to help someone who had a very severe need and genuine need for that matter. How do you react to that concern?
Well, what you're saying is true, because you are the one they see on the ballot paper, yourself and then the president.
Right.
So in reality, these are the two groups of people, apart from the assembly members, who also go through a lot that people depend on, and it's because these are people they can touch, they can feel, they know where you live.
Right.
And you were the one who came to campaign and asked for the vote. And it definitely puts a lot of pressure. Notwithstanding, it also creates a certain sympathy especially with financiers. I had my own network of supporters, people who supported me financially when I was coming into office, people who supported my campaign. I still go to them, every day, because the amount of money you need to be able to solve problems. And then a lot of corporates also help, because when you have, let's say, somebody in a medical condition that requires a lot of money, we write letters around, and then we get companies, corporates, to give us support for them. So really it depends on how eager you, the MP, are willing to, go the extra mile to support your constituents. Once you have that interest of making sure that your constituents are happy. Of course, you can't satisfy everybody, but as much as possible, you would be able to achieve more for your people.
Right. And so for you, how many people, for instance, turn up at your gate every morning?
It varied.
Depending on the day or the weather?
It's varied. It's varied. I can't really say. There are times when you have about 20 people at your door, and then there are times when you have nobody and you can actually get into your car and go to work. But typically you would have at least 5 or 6 people early in the morning, and then in the evening there are a lot.
Yeah.
In the evening you can attend to people till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
You can't afford to turn them away.
No, why are you turning them away? You are their representative.
Right.
You are their representative.
But you can't deal with all the problems.
No, you can't deal with all of them. And I try to be as honest with people as possible.
How do they take that honesty from you?
You have to know how to put it out there sometimes. Yeah, because a lot of people appreciate when you tell them the truth, and then you let them know, well, if I'm able to, eventually I'll still call you and let you know that I can do this or that. If I can't, I'll tell you, based on the way the system is, maybe I'm struggling, I won't be able to do this at this time. Right. So you have to know how to manage your people.
Now, you said something really profound about they seeing your picture and that of the president. Of course, they will not have access to the president. They can't walk or drive to the president's house. But you as an MP, it's so easy for them to come to you.
Absolutely.
So there is a physical contact. There is also a personal contact. You're there. You've campaigned to them. You stood in front of them. You campaigned for their votes. And so they know you. But really and truly, the one responsible for the development of your constituency is the municipal chief executive or the district chief executive.
Yes.
And they feel no pressure, really, compared to what the MPs...
Oh, they do.
But comparatively...
They do. They do. I mean, if you, for instance, you come to Ablekuma North, I can only use my place as an example.
Okay.
God bless his heart. His name is, we all call him Bella, but his name is Honorable Kofi Ofori.
Okay.
When I'm not present, he actually attends funerals and meetings on my behalf in the constituency.
Is it because you are from the same party?
Well, yes, we are from the same party, but you could actually have somebody who will not cooperate with you for one reason or the other. They may not like you.
Or probably interested in your seat.
Or, I guess really it could be varied reasons, but the truth of the matter is, take the president aside. The president takes punches from every single person in the country. Even though he has a team, it's just the same way we also look at the MP. The MP takes jabs. And Nanaba, you jab at us all the time. And
I haven't even done it today.
People feel that regardless of what you do, you don't deserve anything, you know, because any little support that you are given to be able to effectively do your work is seen as, you know, you living a flamboyant life or you getting too much, which is understandable, because if you are also flaunting something that makes people around you uncomfortable, then, you know, they would only talk so much. But truth be told, I think that MPs need more resources, you know, getting into it. I think in all honesty, most MPs give too much of themselves. Some go to the extent of selling personal belongings to be able to continue to sustain the need of their constituents.
Why though?
But we never
Why
see
would you do that?
Because we over bash. Let me use the simple word. MPs and see them as the bad guys, rather than looking at it as we have built a certain structure that depends so much on the MP.
Right.
And that creates only that one channel for everybody. In my constituency, my voter population is 115,000 people. Let's just say it's just 1% of the people who visit me a year, and everybody has a demand. How are you going to support all of that? You need people to help you. You need resources. You need to be able to do your research and go back and forth. Plus, do your parliamentary work, do your committee work, do your board work. And all of these require resources. And in as much as for us as individuals at our workplaces, we want more money for ourselves. We want more resources. We feel that we need that comfort. But we feel that the MP doesn't deserve it because the MP has a title of politician. But I think that once we have created them as the center, why don't we resource them some more so that they would be able to
What kind of resources are you talking about?
Well, all kinds, financial resources especially. Why don't we have a fund for MPs to be able to do their work? Why is it that departments have budgets, operational budgets, and an MP only has their salary and they are supposed to do magic for everybody? I think these are some of the things that indeed, when the conversations come up, we should look at them dispassionately. Of course, it won't happen because a lot of people look at things on the surface. Why have we given you 1,000 CDs whilst I am unemployed? Which is all fair. But then for us to be able to do more, we should be able to be given the needed support. Just as anybody who is in unemployment, if we want them to be able to perform better, we need to be able to resource them, give them the things that they need to be able to work better. For us, it is mostly given as financial resources to be able to do our work.
Okay. Do you get frustrated?
Sometimes. In fact, not sometimes, a lot of times. And
what frustrates
my
you?
biggest frustration is, of course, the fact that financially as a country, we don't have the resources to be able to meet the needs of people, especially when it comes to infrastructural needs. It costs so much to be able to, to do a road, for instance. It is the biggest demand everywhere. Everybody wants a road. Now, we don't want to pay taxes. We don't want to pay. It's like we want, but we don't want to pay. We want to go to a shop. We will go to a shop and spend. I will go and do my nails. I know that when I do my nails, I will have to spend. But why is it that we don't want to spend when it comes to government? Why do we want the whole world? We want Ghana to be just like America and stuff. And when people are making reference and they use these Western countries, the question is, are we willing to pay for what it takes to get there? Are we willing to pay what they pay?
In their defense, whatever they're paying in America, they see what it's being used for. Here, the little they're paying, they don't see what it's being used for.
No, but let me ask you a simple question. You want, you're using an iPad, right? Okay, so let's say, for instance, it costs you, say, 10,000 CDs to buy a laptop, hypothetically.
Okay.
So you say, I need a laptop. It costs 10,000 CDs. And I say, okay, fine. I know you need 10,000 CDs, but I'll give you 5,000 CDs. Can you buy the laptop? Exactly. So for us to be able to get somewhere, we must be willing to make the commitments that will get us gradually there. Because what we are looking at is countries that people have invested in for so many years. It was done bit by bit. And so people had the resources to be able to build it bit by bit. So what we are seeing is sweat and toil and blood over so many years. But we want it to be done now. And we want it now, and we don't want to pay for it. So if we want what we are seeing, we should say, okay, as Ghana is now, it will take $20 billion a year to be able to get there. So all Ghanaians, let's come together and contribute and pay 20 billion. I'm sure if we have the resources to be able to do this, we will be able to achieve it. So we never have enough resources.
How do you respond to, and it's not, this question is not, directed at just you and your party in power. It goes to, across the board, all the political parties. How do you respond to people who say that indeed, yes, we probably have to pay, or indeed we have to pay taxes to get the kind of development we're all looking for? But despite the challenges, despite people not willing to pay or people refusing to pay, they see so much profligacy in the system. They see so much wastage. They see projects that they feel shouldn't be a priority. And so based on that, they think if I pay what they're expecting me to pay, it won't be used for what I think should be used for. It will not be used for the hospitals. It will not be used for the schools. It will be used for something else that I don't think. And it's not one person. The majority of Ghanaians think this shouldn't be a priority for the government because we have real needs. We have pressing needs. How do you respond?
I knew you would get there. You know,
you know, I'm going to talk about the National
No,
Cathedral.
the thing is, no. It's quite interesting because at every point in time, we have so many needs as a country, and we are sitting at Starr FM, and we have infrastructure. I'm talking about technological infrastructure. Now, all your systems here are riding on a certain backbone, which is something that the government invested in. Now, what if the government had said, we have all these schools under trees, so why don't we rather invest in schools under trees by building new schools? And then, because that is priority, why don't we invest in building all the hospitals, because these are priority? Would you have your station? You wouldn't, because they wouldn't see that as basic needs. We are both at the levels of basic and advanced, because there are people whose needs are at the advanced stages for them to be able to do their daily work, and then there are those who have the basic. So as a government, you always have to look at a balance, and I am totally for being ambitious. I am for being ambitious, because if you are not ambitious in your plans, in your ideas, and in what you seek to do as a government, you will be mediocre. You will finish and you wouldn't have achieved much. So it is good to have that idea that I want to achieve big things, especially when it comes to my government looking at education, for instance. I believe that even the concept of free SHS came about because of the engagements that were done, and knowing that majority of the people who are especially in the rural areas and all of that, they can't afford to take their children all the way to university. But you have a lot of brilliant students all around the country who wouldn't have probably gone to SHS if it wasn't for this investment. What if they had said, I'm not going to do that? Somebody sits somewhere and says that it is unnecessary. I agree. For me, honestly, I think the cathedral could have waited. That is my opinion. I think it could have waited, even though I love the concept. Because when I travel abroad, I see, the infrastructure that attracts tourism. I think is fantastic. But I think it could have waited. But at the same time, I'm thinking that, you see, when you're planning your financials and you're sitting there and you're saying that, okay, I want all the children in Ghana, at least a certain percentage of children, to be educated by X amount of time. This is something that is necessary for me to do. I need to put all of these things in place for me to be able to get there. So I decide I'm going to do this. All the major plans that have been put in place, plus some of the emergency ones that came up, for instance, we wanting to build district hospitals came about because of a pandemic, which we hadn't planned for. But all of these are looking at your current situation. You're always planning, looking at your current, and then you're looking at what is it I want to achieve over time. And then you build your plans towards that. Of course, you have risk, but risk margin is usually quite small, not considering the fact that you're going to have a global pandemic or you're going to have a war. Now, I don't subscribe to the fact that all our problems are because of COVID and the war. I think it sounds nice and everything, but I think that I also look at the fact that we had really ambitious plans, which we could have achieved mostly if it wasn't for the COVID and the pandemic. So these ones came in to disrupt a lot of things, and that is why we are in a crisis. We couldn't anticipate the level of risk, and that is why we are where we are. But we really would have been able to manage it. Should
we have anticipated the level of risk?
No.
It's not possible.
No, it's not possible. This is like force majeure. You don't, anticipate a pandemic and a war, within 2 years. It's not something that happens.
Right.
So
it's a double
and even
whammy,
the
really.
pandemic. How long ago have we had a situation where the whole country has to shut down?
The whole world, actually.
The whole world had to shut down. I mean, it couldn't have been. Sometimes I feel sad because somebody would say, "Well, I don't have COVID now, so it means that we don't really have the problems that we are complaining about too much. COVID is past and all of that." But I said that, look, if your child had an accident, okay, God forbid, let me not use that. If somebody had an accident, and because of the accident, their leg broke. Now your leg broke. Does it take away the fact that now you're crippled? 2 years later, 5 years later, would you not have had the accident? When you look at the cripple, won't you say that it is because of this accident? So the effect of the accident cannot be erased just because now we don't feel a pain. We are feeling the pain of what happened, and it has continuously impacted things like transportation and, FDIs and all of that. Even U.S. in their fundraising, they are raising so much money now. All the investors are sending their money there. Because why? It's more profitable to move your money from a developing nation to a developed nation. They know that they have more likelihood of paying than in a developing country. So there's so many things that work against us in the scheme of things. But we have to appreciate the fact that we have come out of a pandemic and the effects of it are long-lasting. And it's not just us. It is the whole world, and everybody is screaming and shouting, don't say COVID, don't say the war. But
the Russian embassy, for instance, says don't blame the rising cost of living in Ghana on them, on the Russian war. I don't know if you saw that statement.
It's very comfortable for them to say because they are the ones who,
But they seem to think that the media is propagating an agenda, and it's not a media agenda. It is that the platform is being given to government officials who are incessantly blaming our current crisis on the Russian war. But the Russian embassy thinks that, no, it can't be them. It is not their fault entirely. Stop.
They're looking at only one side of the coin. They're looking at food. They're looking at food and the specific items that are coming from Ukraine and Russia.
The grains.
But truth be told, it's like COVID. Once something happens that impacts the whole world, it has a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Like if you have transportation challenges because of fuel, shortage of fuel. I don't know if they are hoarding it or whatever the reason that fuel costs are going up all over the world. But then transportation affects the prices of everything.
Absolutely.
And I think that in a way too, our people are also taking advantage. Our women like to hoard and then try to, they would buy something
you really
and say,
can't blame them.
The price is going up, so let me put it down and wait because I know that this thing, even though I bought it for 20 cedis and I usually sell it for 25, in the next 3 weeks.
You can sell it for 50.
I'll sell it for 50, so I'll just hoard it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we are doing ourselves a disservice. But I think typically the impact of all of these things are the ripple effects that we are feeling.
I'll come back to talk about you personally in a bit, but I have just 2 more questions. What do you think about your government, really and truly?
I think my government, I'll say 2 things.
Okay.
I think that my government is an ambitious government, and I appreciate that because I have a background of entrepreneurship. And I'm naturally a very ambitious person. So when I look at the plans, I'm excited. So on that aspect, I love the fact that they put in the effort to be able to achieve more for Ghanaians. The part that doesn't excite me too much, let me not say I don't like, but the part that doesn't excite me too much is I prefer more engagement. Because I believe that when you engage people, when you are coming to implement something or when you're having challenges, they tend to, come along with you. And I think the same way we moved with Ghanaians when the COVID came and we were engaging and all of that, it helped people to appreciate more what we were doing and the achievements we were making. And I think we didn't do that with the war. I don't know if it was because it took some time for us to really appreciate the impact of it on the economy.
Do you think they engaged enough on the e-levy?
No.
Okay.
Not in the beginning. Okay. So we actually waited too long. And I think we could have done a better job and helped people to appreciate what the e-levy could have done, because I believe that just as the vice president has been pushing the digitalization agenda, which all of us now appreciate the impact is making, the positive impact is making, especially in business, we could have also seen it as a way by which all of us together could have helped the government to stand on its feet. Because, you know, just saying that we want a Ghana beyond aid, it's something all of us should want. It's something that excites me. But it seems as though we rushed to say that, well, mobile money, we don't want it. And trust me, my people on the other side, they know the impact it would have made. They know how much value it would have brought into individual lives. And I think that they were intimidated by the way people would have said, oh, MPP is doing so great. So they had to rush and bastardize it because it serves their purpose. But I think that it is a fantastic project, which if we had found a way of getting the people in the industry to come along to help us in designing how it will work, especially in the fee structure, and how to get, especially the agents and all of that to come along, we could have incorporated it more into the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. So people don't see it as the enemy, because it carries so much promise. But we have allowed it to go the way it has, and it's really quite unfortunate. Did
you bring it up with any of them that, you know, this is what we should be doing? Did you at any point offer any
I think we were given opportunities to engage.
Okay.
Once it came out, we had opportunities to engage more, to understand more the whole idea behind it and why it needed to be done and all of that. And so it gave us better opportunities to, you know, send a word out and explain to people and get them to, you know, to buy into the idea. But I think it was a bit late by the time most of us started engaging with people.
Are you surprised, or were you surprised at the figures that are showing a shortfall?
I think we should not be discouraged, because when I launch a product, usually it starts off very small and then it grows over time.
Right.
So it really,
so you have high hopes for it.
I have high hopes. I think that eventually, when we begin to see what we are doing with it, I don't know how the IMF arrangement will impact it. But if we should continue, I think it is something that we would actually gain a lot of benefit from it. I do believe.
Since you brought in IMF, at some point you were told that it's either e-levy or we go to the IMF. Eventually the e-levy was passed, and now we're going to the IMF. So it looks like, I don't know how, like you said, you don't know how it's going to impact it, but it's possible that it could be e-levy and IMF, as opposed to what we had been told. Do you feel, I mean, again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with going to the IMF. I think it's one thing that Ghanaians have to learn to understand. That the IMF exists for a reason. It exists for a reason. It exists for these reasons. And Ghana will not be the first country that has done that twice. And it won't be the last.
And this will not be the last time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We could go back in 2028. You never know. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to the IMF. But how do you feel at the way between the NPP and the NDC? There is so much politicking and bastardizing of the IMF program. So much so that it's almost a disaster, a calamity to say, I am going to the IMF. Because if you announce that you're going to the IMF, then it's like a party for the other side. That, there you go, you've mismanaged the economy, and that is why you're going to the economy. You're going to the IMF. But you don't only go to the IMF because you've mismanaged the economy. There are so many reasons for going to the IMF. But how do you feel about the bastardization of the program between the two political parties?
I think it's so unfortunate because, as you've said, it is a program of which we are members. I mean, there are so many countries, almost, all developing countries are members. And it is something that exists to be able to stop gap, to assist when you have a need. And right now, I mean, we don't have the same structure as we used to have where they would pretty much tell you what you should do.
Yeah.
Now they give you the opportunity to actually design your programs in a way that will suit you and help you to get out of your challenges faster in a way that is sustainable. I do agree that the overenthusiasm in saying that we are never going to the IMF is because we needed to encourage ourselves that IMF was not an option, because we really want to be able to stand on our feet as a country. It's about time that we are able to move beyond always having to go back and then say that we need your help, and for somebody to come in and help us to streamline things, even though there's nothing wrong with that. We all use consultants all the time. But notwithstanding, as it stands now, yes, that is the way to go, and we are going to do it. But what I'm happy about is the fact that our key issues right now that we are trying to resolve has been made clear. And that is the fact that we're going to cover our balance of payments. We have so many arrears, we have, amortizations and all of that. We are burdened as a country, so it doesn't make us liquid. And when you're not liquid, you find challenges in implementing some of the day-to-day things that you need to do. I'm hoping also that in the whole structuring of this arrangement, some of the key programs such as the free SHS will not be impacted.
I will be very upset if
yes,
it's impacted.
I believe it's really doing well. Maybe one or two things can be taken out.
Absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. About 5 things.
I don't want to
be
say
dealt
I
with.
have 2
but
children.
It's a fantastic policy. I mean, I am all for free SHS.
Yes.
I mean, I love free SHS, and I said this before the 2016 elections that I'm not a fan of the NPP.
Yeah.
I'll never be a fan of the NPP. I'm not a fan of the NDC either. I'll never be a fan of them. But if there is any policy that brings in the poor, takes care of their real needs, and education is such a serious thing to me. It sits in my heart.
It's very important.
It's very important.
Yes.
And I have traveled the length and breadth of this country when I was an active reporter, and I've seen how difficult it is for parents to enroll their wards in schools. And so any policy that would ensure children stay in the classroom, I am all for it.
Yes.
And every policy would have its teething problems. So I feel, again, there was a lot of rubbishing of the free SHS, but really and truly in the hearts of many people, they know that it is solving a major problem.
Yes.
And so I'm definitely all for free SHS. And that's what I'll be heartbroken if
really,
it's touched.
No, I think that I'm hoping that, tuition, boarding will be supported, books and all of that.
Yeah.
But maybe we can look at uniforms, for instance, or maybe a fixed amount that you can contribute into the free SHS fund.
From the rich.
So that, someone like me, I can afford to maybe contribute a certain amount of money a year into a fund. And I think that if it's made compulsory, that every parent should pay, so that those who are truly in need and cannot pay maybe can have a process where the government will cover for them.
I agree
but let
with
the schools have some support coming from parents. Absolving them completely, it's not on.
I totally trust me, Sheila. I totally agree with you, because there are some families in Ghana whose children should not be enjoying free SHS.
My children should not be enjoying free SHS
because they can afford it, right? They can afford it.
I don't know. I think I should be able to pay.
Yeah.
But obviously. The whole idea the president had was you never know who would find themselves in a situation where they cannot pay. They don't want that situation to affect the ability of the child to go to school because circumstances change. So I think the president thought through it very well to decide how it is structured. So let's help them out. Let's help them out.
Okay, now let's move away from all of that and come to you. At what point did you decide that you wanted to go into politics?
Well, actually, that was in 2018.
Okay.
In 2018.
Did your father at any point influence you?
Not at all. He
didn't?
wanted to discourage me.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because of my background. Because you know, I'm an IT person. You know, digital banking, fintech. I am also in ministry.
Oh, you are?
Yes, my late husband was a pastor actually. So there was nothing seemingly politics about me. And so after my late husband passed and we finished everything, you know, we had been doing a lot of missionary work and stuff. And then I felt I wanted to continue, but not on the scale he was doing. I felt I wanted to do something smaller, so let me do it within my own community. So I went to him and I said, look, I've decided to run for MP so that I'll be able to, you know, help make an impact in my community. And he said, okay, I'll think about it. He never got back to me. 3 months. I went back to the guy. I'm like, bro, what's up?
Bro.
I'm serious. He said, oh, I thought by now you've forgotten. I said, no, I'm serious. He said, oh, okay. Now, okay, Marty. Now that at least 3 months you've come back, it means you are still interested. So he called a couple of guys, Alaja Demu, Brother, Ma Joyce, and all of these fantastic people of Ablekuma North who came in, and they built a whole system and a whole structure.
How did your mom feel about it?
My mom was scared.
Why?
You know?
Why was she scared?
Actually, I have 2 moms.
Okay.
So my biological mother, obviously, she is risk averse.
Okay.
You know, more politics in you know, people insult you,
right?
You know, and all of stuff for mommy and all of that. So she was a bit worried. But my second mother, I don't want to call her my stepmother because she's really my mother,
right?
And she like what you know. So I had the support. I had the needed support, and my fiance now also. He was he also pushed. He did so much work to help support me. My children were like, "Go for it!" You know.
Really?
Oh yeah, my children are crazy kids, just like me, and they were so excited. So I really had a good support system, and so it encouraged me to go together with the team that helped me up. It made a great.
Are you the only sibling who's taken this path? That's your dad.
For now.
You think more of them will take it up?
So we have, from my mother's line, I am the only one. Obviously, nobody else is interested. But I believe that their phase 2 children would probably have one person coming from there.
How do you're hoping? Oh, not that you've sensed anything, but you're hoping.
One of them. He's as passionate as I am, and he's Anamoah Bartels Jr. He's as passionate as I am, and he goes like, Sheila, at the end we have to do it. We have to make change in this country. I'm like, bro, you are a politician.
And he's younger than you are.
Oh yes, much younger. Much younger. He's in his 30s.
Okay.
Late 20s, early 30s. How old is
You're not even sure.
We are too many. I lose count.
Yeah. How many are you? How many siblings?
So there are 10 of us actually now.
Wow, Mr. Anamoah Bartels.
Not all from Anamoah, but so 2 of them he adopted and raised, you know, together with us. So we don't see the difference.
Okay.
But,
so 10 of you, and your number?
Hey, in fact, 11. No.
You're actually discounting someone. Yeah. And your number?
I'm number 3.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there are 2 before you.
2 before me, 2 girls.
Where are they?
Me. So Millie is in the UK, and then Sylvia is in Ghana.
Okay.
And then myself and Linda is at MIF.
Okay.
And then Kwame is an immigration officer. And then Anamoah, that's AC Spice. She's in the US. Yasantua, also she shuffles between Ghana and the US. And then Sheila Bartels Jr.
Okay.
And then Berima Jose. And then Godwin. And then Ella. Ella is our last baby.
Is she the pampered one?
Pampered. She's over pampered.
Not just by the parents, but by the siblings as well.
She herself is pampered. So
she's into
she
self-love.
As well.
Right. And so your dad tried to talk you out of this?
Not really.
But he was hoping you would change your mind.
He told me he doesn't back losers. So he has to make sure
you win.
That I will win. He has to make sure that I am passionate enough.
Did you believe you would
enough.
win? Did you believe you would win?
Well, I believed I will win because of my team.
Right.
I had a really, really fantastic team. And, this team has carried me the whole way up till now. They advise, they support, they help. So as long as, that team was in place, I knew that we would win. And we won massively.
Right.
We won massively.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very peculiar.
I actually have a second level team who are even more fantastic. Than
You're lucky then.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
You mentioned that your biological mother was a bit scared. She wasn't too sure because she felt you'd be insulted. So my next question is about the kind of politics we do in Ghana. Well, it's not just Ghana, but across the world, the politics can be really dirty. But it's even dirtier for a woman. So it's a double whammy for a woman. You're, number one, trying to be a politician. Number two, you're a woman. It's tough. Did you experience that?
Oh my goodness, I keep telling people that I'm the most vulnerable MP because one of the things I realize is that we haven't really developed laws to protect women's rights enough in the workplace especially. So a slap on the back, on the ass, somebody grabbing you.
They think it's okay.
Yes, they think it's okay. And then we also have that kind of environment where everybody not everybody, most people believe that a woman cannot get to the top through hard work. A woman can only achieve something if it's her father or something, in my case, or if she's sleeping with somebody, which is so unfortunate. And then and so within the workplace, when you want the kind of support you need to be able to also do the work you need to do, sometimes you come across one or two men who feel that they must have a bit of you. And you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely.
Before they would give you a favor. Somebody actually told me to my face that, this business, you must give yourself, you must give yourself up once or twice and stuff. And
you didn't give them a high five on the face?
No, I don't do that. I have my ways of managing those ones. I actually prefer to build bridges than to destroy them. So I have my ways of engaging them and all of that because I like to make friends a lot. Right. I do. So I will find a way to neutralize it until it gets to that point where you would realize that and it's funny, a lot of people think I'm much younger than I am, so sometimes when I tell them my age, they go, really? So
because you look young.
I know, they tell me I look young,
but you are young.
No.
Yes, you are. Of course you are young. Of course you are young, Sheila. Even 60-year-olds.
Let's keep it that way.
Even 60-year-olds say they're young, and they are young at 60. So you are young.
Well, let's just say people usually estimate my age to be at least 10 years younger than I am.
No, that's true. Actually, before I came in, I saw your date of birth. I walked in and saw you, and I was thinking, did these people lie to me about your age? Because you look younger than...
Yeah, that's what they say. But I think it's a Sheila Bartels look. He has a baby face. Very, very sexy guy. Hannah.
Is he listening to you?
I doubt. I don't know. I didn't mention it to him. But
why not?
He likes to look good. That guy
Yeah,
likes
well,
to look good.
I remember him as a minister. Yeah, he always looked dapper.
Yeah.
He always looked dapper.
He has a baby face. My mom too has a baby face.
And you
so
look
the
a lot
two
like
together.
your dad.
Yes, I do.
You've been told many
to look
times.
like my husband, but it didn't work out.
How are you going to look like your husband?
I don't know, Charlie. I was really researching into it.
Oh God.
It didn't work out.
You do have a good sense of humor. But you really do look like your father.
When I get there, the party starts.
Yeah? You're the life of the party.
I am. I like to make people laugh.
You know what is surprising about you? At the first encounter, your countenance is very calm until you start talking, and then it's like, whoa, that's like 0 to 100 real quick with speed of light. Yeah,
I just need a few minutes to adjust, and that's it. Yeah.
Right.
A few minutes. And that's
what do you do for fun?
Right now, sleep. If I even get it.
You have sleep deprivation.
Oh my goodness. It's.
You don't get enough of it.
Yeah, because from Parliament and constituency work, and one issue after the other.
How are you able to attend to your kids?
You have to read, because I'm also studying, and
you are
committee documents. You have to study,
right?
And all of that. You have constituents who can sit there till 10 o'clock. You have meetings and all of that.
Oh dear.
So, very little sleep and no break.
And how do your kids feel about that? Do you make time for them?
So what I do is to let them hang around me as much as possible. I'll go throw myself on my daughter's bed. 2 of my daughters, my older daughters, are in SHS now, so they are usually away. But currently, the second one is home because they are on vacation. So every day I get home, and they come, we sit and we hang out, chat. Okay. My youngest, who is a boy, he's now writing his BC. Oh. Anytime he sees me, he will come and they will sit and chat about anything, everything for as long as we can. Right.
But so they don't really miss mommy.
Well, I hope not, because sometimes they avoid me. So
they do.
They have enough.
Well, it's the age.
They are getting enough.
I'm sure if they were younger.
Yeah,
they would have wanted more attention from their mother.
My last is 14.
And he's a boy. Boys are usually not touchy.
No. Oh, my son is touchy.
Well, they say boys are their mothers.
He touches when he needs money for credit.
Oh, tell me about it. My son does say when they need something. That's when they remember they have a mother. My son would only call me mommy so the moment he calls me mommy, I'm wondering, what is he looking for?
Then my son is the opposite. He will say mother. I'm like, bro, what's up? Mommy, I need this. You need money, right?
It's always a toll.
But I was telling a friend just today, I said, I have realized my son is exactly like me, because when he is coming to me, he has this beautiful smile. He will smile and his whole face will light up. So anything he asks for you, if you're not careful,
you give it away.
Yeah.
One of these days, you just give him your house. And that will be it.
Oh, it's a house, Nidia.
It's still his. You give it to him to go and sell it without knowing.
Okay, that one I don't know about it.
Anyway, and so you sleep for fun these days.
These days.
Because you hardly get any sleep.
It's really
difficult. But you're going to run in 2024.
Absolutely, I'm going to run in 2024.
So you're not exhausted?
No, not in service. I think I enjoy the service. Okay. I enjoy doing the things I do for people. I enjoy, running around the corridors and getting people to do things for us. And I think that given the opportunity, we would really make a lot of impact in Ablekuma North. And I look forward to being a part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's good. All the best with that.
Thank you.
Now, you mentioned that you lost your husband.
Yes.
At what points in your life was this?
Oh, that was just 2018.
Oh, very recent.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yes.
How did you take that?
So he was sick for about 5 years because he had kidney failure and a stroke. So we had to manage dialysis and all of that for quite a while before
that was expensive.
he passed. So it was difficult, but Well, I think that God knows best because he's diehard. I mean, he's a pastor. He was a pastor, so diehard for God. So we know exactly where he is. I mean, 2 days later, I'm sitting crying, and then one day I go, like, bro, you actually know. I'm sure by now the things you couldn't eat, you are eating, and I'm sitting here and I'm crying. Oh, Sheila, and not live your life,
Yeah.
And my friends were shocked because you are crying, and then suddenly your demeanor has changed. Yeah. And then they asked me, and I started saying, can you imagine? Nana is sitting up there, and he's chilling. There's all kinds of food, and there's music playing. I can see him dancing and all of that, and I'm sitting here crying. I've stopped crying.
Right.
I think they thought, you
were losing it.
I was losing it.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing too. Right.
No. But that encouraged me to carry on the work that he has started.
Do you miss him?
Love to serve God.
Do you miss him?
Yes, I miss him, but I have also a fantastic partner now.
Okay.
Going into the future. So I thank God for the years I had with my late husband, but we need to move on.
Yeah. And how's that going? The moving?
It's going well. He's a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Fantastic guy. I love him. He understands me because he has been in politics for a very long time.
So he understands the terrain.
Exactly. So he helps me study, because I'm lazy when it comes to studying, anything that is not current. And he helps with the kids. He loves the kids.
Oh, bless him.
Yes. So that he fills a gap, wherever I'm weak, he's strong. So we have a good balance, and I also balance him.
Oh, that's so beautiful
I thank
to
God
hear.
for him, because it's not always at your age you're able to get somebody who
you love love, don't you?
I love love. How did you know?
Is the light in your eyes? You should see it. You should see the light in your eyes.
The light in my eyes. You will let my colleagues tease me tomorrow. I know they are listening, but
you're a sucker for love. Definitely a sucker for love.
Yes, it's good to have people who love you back. So that's good.
Yeah. And what do you do in your spare time apart from sleeping? This is not what you do for fun. But when you're free, do you cook?
No, when I'm free, I hardly cook.
Okay.
Honestly, because I just don't have time.
Makes the two of us. Oh, me, it's not the time. I just think it's such a chore.
I love cooking. Naturally.
You do?
Before I
never understand people who love
to cook.
Because it's such a difficult job. Because when I cook, I mean, I make good meals. But when I cook, I'm never able to eat.
Okay, I have that problem too.
Yeah, so why should I cook?
But I love it when people are eating what I've made.
No, I don't like it when people are enjoying what I've made and I can't enjoy it. No,
So set it down and then, enjoy it. No,
I can never enjoy it later. It's just too exhausting for me. And then I'll say, okay, I'll eat it in a couple of hours. And it just takes me to the next day and I will never eat it. Well, so hence,
if I have somebody helping me,
then it's fine.
If it's just me doing everything from scratch, I find that tedious.
Right.
But you have somebody at home, cut up this, cut up that, and you
can
relax
so you're
while
just
they
mixing.
do all of that, and then you do it to how the taste that you like. So yes, when I have a chance. But if I have free time, any free time at all, I spend with my kids. I like to, we go and play the basketball, football.
Do you go out a lot with them?
I don't remember the last time we did that because now their schedules are shifting.
Yeah, because of school, the COVID.
So you have one in SHS3. She is in school now. You have SHS2 who has come for break. You have one in doing BEC. So the last time I actually traveled with them was December 2018.
Oh, that's a while back.
Yes.
And then COVID struck.
COVID and work. And
so now you can't even plan a summer break with
I can't because then one or two will not be around. So that's the challenge now, trying to get all of them.
How do they feel about it?
They're hanging in there. They like, their mother is an MP.
They like the title, They're calling their mother honorable.
Yes, and when you go to school and your
honorable
teachers are like,
daughter and honorable son.
MP son, and my son is the school prefect in his school.
Oh, right.
Hey, MP son.
He's going to run for politics one day.
My son really is interested in politics. And I will encourage him. Because I feel that people who have the heart and the passion for people. I go by the mantra "people first" as part of the Hope campaign. Excuse me. And I believe that for anything that we would be able to do and do well as a country, we always have to put people in the center of it. And he loves people just as I do. So I know he will also make a good politician someday. Maybe not necessarily an MP, but you know, he has the heart for people.
Would it end for you at MP?
I don't know yet. Let's leave it at that.
I'm sure you know the question that's coming up. Your father never tried to go that way, but I think it will be nice for you to go a notch, just a notch further. Just a notch.
Well, further is really in the hands of
God.
The person who appoints. In this case, God and the president, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not even talking about minister. I'm talking about you eyeing the big seat.
Which big seat?
The president.
Oh, no.
You're not interested in that?
No. Okay, never say never.
Precisely.
It's something
but why not?
I will say.
But why not?
Well, my conversations have leaned towards after politics, being able to use the value I have created to impact women, especially internationally. You know, supporting women. Business owners, helping them to put themselves out there, both for political office and also in business, you know, helping them to achieve the kind of feats that men achieve internationally. I think too few women get to become as big as men-led businesses, and there's something that we should be able to do.
It will start with the affirmative action bill being passed.
Absolutely,
no?
Absolutely.
How do you feel about it? You're in this parliament. It looks like it won't be passed anytime soon. It's become a white elephant. It's become how do the women in parliament feel about it?
Well, I think that the women, what I'm so grateful for is that anything that has to do with women, it transcends political barriers. Okay. It transcends, you know, our interests on the political, because we believe that there are too few women in the political space, and we being given the opportunity in Parliament, we have to create more avenues for more women to aspire to the top, and not only within the political space, but also in the corporate space. So we must use the opportunity given to us to remove as many barriers as possible. And we should be able to do it without feeling intimidated by men, or feeling less of a person because of tags and insensitive environments created for women. So I'm happy that the women in Parliament now are willing to work on achieving those goals.
Okay. What do you think about your colleague Adjoa Safo's absence?
I have mixed feelings because she's my sister. I mean,
right.
Daddy's sweetheart. So when it comes to that bit, it's like my sister. I don't know. But the problem is, I don't know what the issue is.
You don't?
No.
Have you asked?
I've asked.
And you're not getting answers?
I don't know yet.
But have you tried to speak to her?
I have tried. I actually had a little chat with her the last time she was in Ghana.
Right.
We were talking about family stuff. We didn't even talk about, because I felt that if she wanted to talk about
she would have just brought it up. So you don't want to be intrusive.
Exactly.
Right.
So I left it at that. But nobody seems to really have much information. So we're just praying for the best for her. I wish her all the best in whatever the situation is, because I'm sure whatever it is, there's a very good reason why it is what it is.
You are in a very interesting parliament. This dispensation is a very interesting one. So you have been a witness to the fisticuffs on the floor of Parliament. Were you disappointed to see it?
Well, let's just say I expected it.
You did?
Yes, because the it had built up over time, over things, discussions here and there, prior to, for instance, the last one. We had done that in committee, in finance committee. We pretty much fought over there.
Ah, right.
So, and it was... I was tired of that one because I was part of that one.
Right.
But when it came to the floor, I didn't really agree with the hooliganism part of it, where you're grabbing the speaker's seat and all of it. I thought that was quite unnecessary. I was sitting back, so I didn't go and participate in that fight. But I'm hoping that in the future we would really consider the international impact of some of these actions on how people perceive our country.
But it happens in a lot of parliaments.
Yes, we've seen several videos and of people doing that.
But you'd rather not Ghana?
Yes,
no.
yes.
Okay, I understand how you feel.
Because in Ghana, you know, the way we perceive things, it's they may not really look at the content of the fight. Like, what were you guys arguing about? Can I understand it deeper, get to the bottom of it? We don't ask such questions.
Right.
And away, I didn't left and I go away to way a kung fu. And away more dancing with, you know, we
Rambo.
And that's all we care about. And then, you know, MP4, you know, it makes everything become, you know, all about the politics, but not about the substance.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
I hope it doesn't happen again.
Okay. Your father was very friendly to the media when he was actively participating in national, you know, issues, whether it was a conversation, whether it was he doing his campaigning on groundwork. Very friendly to the media. You call him, and even if he's not available to speak now, he will schedule. He was very media friendly, and the media loved him. The media really loved Mr. Kwame Bartels. Are you media friendly too? I mean, I'm interviewing you now, so I guess the answer would be yes. But does he have conversations with you on how to handle media interviews, how to handle the public? Does he have such discussions with you?
I don't get that much time with him.
Because you don't have time?
Mostly because I don't have that much time. Right. You know, any chance I get, I pass by the office, we have a chat or two. And the topic will only come up if, for instance, I have a media engagement.
Okay.
And then we are talking about it. But on a typical day when we are chatting, it doesn't come up.
It won't come up.
Yes. I think the very first interview I did, that's when I was quite, you know, shaky. And
Look at you now. Look at you now. Also bubbly.
So, yes, and he advised me a lot. But right now
He must be proud of you.
Well, I hope so. Don't we all hope that our parents are
Well, you can hear it from him. He's there. Go ask him. Yeah.
He's biased. So.
Oh, well, you're his daughter, so...
Yeah.
But do you think he'll be biased in his criticism of your work?
No, he if he's telling you what is wrong, he's telling it in your face. He doesn't mince words. No.
Right.
But he's very generous also with praise. So,
right.
Yeah, because he knows that everybody needs encouragement. So
right.
He does that as well, and find a way to. I mean, he will bash you and then tell you. He tell you any day, He has a very good.
You sound so much like him.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, when you speak Fanti.
Ah.
Yeah, when you speak Fanti, you sound so much like him. What do you think about all this brouhaha about LGBTQ in Ghana?
Okay, good. Thank you for asking. But, you know, I think there's a reason why our parents, grandparents, and great-great-grandparents decided that it was not even an issue. So let's not even talk about it, because I am also of the opinion that we have to let it sleep.
Okay.
Why? Because when you want acceptance of anything, it starts off with you first engaging, introducing, and getting people to talk about it. You know very well that it's going to start with anger. People are going to be angry. People are going to be disgusted and all of that. There are phases people go through, and then eventually, you know, it will get to acceptance. I I'm of the opinion that some people have been paid to, start this campaign of we have to create a law that against LGBTQI, and we have to get people who are LGBT to be jailed or to do this and do that, and all these clauses. If you see two people standing together in a compromising way, you have to report to the police and all of that. Look,
you think people are being paid to do that, to push this agenda?
This is Sheila.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
I think people have been paid because LGBTQ is something that is an agenda, and their agenda is not for us, you and I. Okay. It's for our grandchildren. It's for our children and our grandchildren. And if they let us begin to engage now, create laws, once you create the laws, eventually loopholes will come in. Somebody will say, okay, the law says that when two boys are sitting in a room and somebody goes to report and says XYZ, then the person should, go to jail or whatever it is. Then the next minute, my son and your son are sitting watching TV. Then somebody will go and report, and then after that, we will start fighting. Why is our children being bastardized for, the law must be amended. So we go and remove something, and then we remove something, and we remove something. And that is when eventually you would have a beautiful law which says that they can marry. We are where America was X number of years ago. They started engaging. And the moment you begin to engage, the moment you instigate people, get angry, get pastors to be angry, get everybody to be angry, and then it's like, okay, let's make a law. Why? It is a taboo. Finish. We don't want it. We don't want to talk about it. And that is what the president said. He said, this is not something that is our culture. It is not us. So let it go. We know there are people who are gay, doing their thing. Let's leave it. Let's leave it. So that our children's children will have the same environment. Trust me, if we touch it and we begin to follow after Sam George and his people and what they are doing, in 50 years' time, our children will accept LGBTQ. We should not start it. We should not start it. At all. At all.
Wow. I haven't.
I know. Because anytime I raise it and I tell people that this is the path, when they are doing it, it is, they said the devil is a cunning animal. He will not do it for you to know that this is the agenda we are pushing and that eventually we are going to get here. That's not how they work. That's not how they operate. They operate in little, one or two things, and then they push here, and then they put people in strategic positions, and people are pushing and pulling one string after the other, and the next minute they are fighting and saying. So all that is happening. I know somebody has been paid to do this thing and getting pastors to buy in. But trust me, if we touch it.
So we should leave it as it is.
Leave it as it is, as the president said. He is a wise man. He knows why he's saying that.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think NPP will win the elections in 2020?
I believe absolutely we are
How
breaking
are
the
you going
8.
to break the 8? How?
Yeah, more 90 minutes when you have a boss spare time.
I like that. I like that.
In between, you can have,
Even with 1 minute left.
And I know you like soccer, so.
Yes, you can still win it. You can, even when you are down.
Absolutely.
30 seconds left.
Thank you for
you can still come back. But how is the NPP going to do this?
They are focused, and that is what I love.
Atmosphere now.
It doesn't matter. We are going through a phase.
Oh, you think?
Yes, I believe that we're going through a phase. We're going through challenges as a country. And just as we didn't have the situation we have now 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we are where we are now. I believe things can change. And I believe that the team, is committed, led by His Excellency, the Vice President of Ghana. I absolutely love the guy. I believe that he
So you are Team Baumia?
100%.
Hey.
And I believe that I believe he has what it takes to be able to lead the team for us to chalk the successes that we chalked in the past.
What about him do you like?
We will be successful. I have known him, I knew him a little bit before he became vice president.
Okay.
But what I love so much about him is his outlook. You know, the forward looking, and the fact that he appreciates that Ghana can get there. Ghana can get there with the right set of people and led by the right person. We will get there. One thing I also appreciate is the fact that we all agree that the problems of Ghana today are not cultural problems, are not religious problems. It's not an issue of Ashanti or a Muslim or whatever it is. It is a problem of Yehia Zika, Yehia, what do you call it, economic deliverance. Right. People need jobs. People need their businesses to progress. People need money in their pocket. And that is really the problems of Ghana. And Dr. Bawumia is the one who has what it takes. I'm not campaigning for him. I'm just saying that
clearly
I believe that his leadership is something that we can believe in into the future.
So 2024, definitely Team Bawumia for you.
I am.
You are.
Absolutely.
Not a chance.
Of course.
Not a chance for Alan K.
Not with me. He knows. Alan knows that I am.
Yeah, but
in fact, everybody knows that Sheila is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you feel when you see all of this commentary about Dr. Bawumia? That number one, he couldn't arrest the dollar like he claimed. Number two, they don't feel his what's the word? His wizardry with economics on the economy. They don't feel it in their pockets because he and the president and their followers promised Ghanaians milk, honey, sugar, and the moon.
He's not working in isolation. Let me put it that way. He's a vice president.
But he was almost the face of that campaign. And so, I mean, he has sound bites for days. Dr. Bawumia has sound bites for days.
But just to let you know, there's another one coming up. So,
really?
Oh, yes. There is a program that I think Pleasant Place that is hosting him.
Okay.
So I believe that we would get one or two
sound bites.
To
add on, he has sound bites for days. Anything you want to tell your constituents, because we are wrapping and we have just a minute to wrap up.
Yes. So I want to encourage my constituents that just as they have had faith in me and giving me the opportunities, they should all know that all the challenges we are having and then the petty drama happening in the constituency, they shouldn't worry.
Okay.
Things are under control.
Okay.
I know
some
that
drama?
There's drama going on.
But are people interested in your seat?
I mean, there's always people interested in your seat, and some going above and beyond to try to sell themselves now. But I don't panic because I believe that we're working, and I believe that we are keeping our promises to people, and at the right time we will campaign. And I don't want them to be stressed because they keep calling me and somebody is doing this and that. They shouldn't worry at all.
Okay.
We are going to continue working for the people of Ablekuma North, and we will do it for a very long time to come.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Gospel.
I knew you would say that. So apart from gospel, you don't listen to anything else?
Oh, I would listen to anything that is interesting. But
who's your favorite gospel artist?
Hillsong.
Oh, Hillsong.
Yes.
Kobo, do you have Hillsong?
Darlene.
Okay. So that's what you listen to on the regular.
It calms me.
It calms you.
Yes.
Yeah, Hillsong is. They have some really great tracks. Anyway, so you have one. So we are wrapping up, but I have to say a very big thank you to you, Sheila Bartels, as Member of Parliament for Ablekuma North. Yeah. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
You are a truckload of fun. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, thanks for coming.